Hey, welcome to the Thrivecast. It is a production of the Thriveal organization, and Thriveal has been around, going strong for almost 15 years, where firm owners come from all over the world to build community and grow and build their firms together through our programs, events, education, and conferences. And we want to say thank you to Bill. They are a sponsor of the Thrivecast and have been for many years. We're actually a 15-year user of Bill in our firm. So thank you, Bill, for helping us as we deploy Bill into a lot of our controllership and CAS work with our clients all across the country. Thank you, Bill, for being a sponsor of the Thrivecast. Hey, welcome to another Thrivecast episode. This is the last episode of the year 2025. And as we go into 2026, I want to do this episode just a little bit differently. It's only going to be me and no guests because I have some things to share with you after many, many years of running a firm and leading Thriveal. Don't worry, I'm still doing both of those, but there's some changes that are going to come. And kind of to set the stage, I wanted to just let you know that as leaders and people who've been in our careers a long time, we all go through seasons of change. Sometimes seasons are pressed upon us that we don't want really, that change us, that make us grow. Sometimes we enact changes in certain seasons because we know it's time for a different change. And I'll give you an example. I've been leading our firm for close to 25 years. And so we've always used the strategy of being deeply niched in certain industries. And we've been deeply niched in digital marketing agencies for many years, over a decade probably. Well, in 2025, we found that profession, that industry really started changing. It really started struggling. And so what we're doing in a new season in our firm in 2026 is we're broadening our positioning. So that's called pivoting to a new market. And when change happens, you want to make the change on your own strategically. You want to put it in place if you can, instead of having things pressed on you. Now, as entrepreneurs, as those people running firms, sometimes things are delivered to us and pressed upon us that we can't change. We can't do anything about. But when we saw our market changing, we decided to change with it. So we're broadening our positioning in the firm, and we're going to go to serving entrepreneurs. Now, that's what we've been doing as a firm for a long time. Our team is skilled and they're practiced at serving entrepreneurs. That is, people who start things, become founders. They often create messy and chaotic businesses. That means it finds its way into their finances too. Their finances are often messy and chaotic. And so we're putting a lot of things in order. And that's what we do as a firm. We serve entrepreneurs. And that's our new positioning statement. We serve entrepreneurs. Now, so we're broadening and pivoting because of what the market has brought to us. And that's what we have to do as firm entrepreneurs. We have to make changes when it's time to make a change. We've had some team disruptions in our firm this year too, and we've responded with some changes. Our leadership team really dives in when it's time to make changes. And so seasons bring about change. And in the middle of the season, sometimes you're like, why me? Or why am I going through this? Or not again. But these are the times that really mature us. They grow. They make us grow. And of course, I'm being stretched and I'm growing by having to pivot markets in our firm. It creates a whole new market. And that takes about 1.5 to 2 years to pivot a market, really to market your way through the eyeballs of a brand new positioning and group of people who need to see you that know you can serve them. So that's a little context in the firm. We're also doing that in Thriveal too. So after 15 years of running a community, we asked ourselves 3 key questions, and it comes from a article that we wrote and that I want to share with you. So here's the blog I wanted to share with you on this Thrivecast. It's called The Seasons for Choosing What Matters. I won't read the whole thing, but again, this podcast is really about the changes after 15 years that we're making in Thriveal. And me and my partner, Julie Ship, and I really went through a lot of soul-searching, thought-provoking conversations over the past couple of years. And here are some key questions we came away with asking ourselves. And I'm asking you to ask these questions of yourself too, as you anticipate going through seasons, or if you feel a season is being pressed upon you, right? So as I just mentioned, you want to take the lead in the seasonal changes that you make. You don't want them pressed on you if you can help it. Now, that's not always the case. But to make sure we made the pivot in our season appropriately, we asked these questions. What is required of us in our work? And what do we want to commit to? And what should we commit to? Now, a lot of this probably comes at certain ages, right? We're in our mid to late 50s and we're just starting to think, okay, after over 30 years in our careers, what can we focus on? And this is kind of a summary. After 15 years of serving the profession, we're choosing to go deeper with fewer than broader with more. We're choosing to build something that will leave a legacy for future leaders in both our firm and community. We're choosing intimacy over scale, depth over breadth, and commitment over convenience. Okay, that phrase in that blog post, we're choosing to go deeper with fewer rather than broader with more. In this season, what we're learning is for the past 15 years, we've been building a community. And that community is really open to the profession. Come one, come all. There's 3 different member levels that you can join. And we're learning that's really not scalable in the way that we want to devote ourselves to leading firm owners. So in the next 15 years of Thriveal, right, we've already gone 15. In our next 15 years, we want to get more intimate with firm owners. And what that means is really resetting Thriveal in a way that Julie and I can focus really deeply and intimately with the firm owners that want to be in our community. So we're going from 3 member levels, there were 3 member levels you can join, to 2 programs. So it's member levels and then programs. And the programs basically are inviting firm owners into a monthly, it's an all year round 12-month monthly program for firm owners. This is where you're going to receive accountability, and you're going to do it in the places with other firm owners that are of similar size to you. So here's what this seasonal thought and change led us to. We have 2 programs. One is Venture, and this is for firm owners that have 5 or more team members. So some of our current community upgraded to that, and some chose not to. And then we have a higher level. It's called Ascent. This is another program for firm owners that are $1 million or more in revenue. So that is what we pivoted to. That is who we are going to commit our community services, coaching, and consulting to, is people who decide to join Thriveal in these 2 member programs. Venture, for those with 5 team members or more, and Ascent, those with $1 million in revenue and scaling or growing, expanding. Now, with our book that just came out, Scale with Purpose, The Service Entrepreneur's Guide to Intentional Growth, that book lays a foundation for these programs. We've put out now a reference manual that can really be something you keep on your desk, right? You can put it on your bookshelf, but you're going to pull it off over and over as it leads you through resources of building a firm and scaling a firm. And a lot of that, as we go into this new season, gives us a lot of depth in consulting. You know, it really lets us offer and lead firms a deeper way to grow. And so we're very specifically now, Thriveal is about inviting people into our community that are scaling and growing their firm. So we're not for single member firms. We're not for sole proprietor firms. We're not for lifestyle firms. Those are all great. And you can hear in our book, we talk about how great those are, but scaling is a completely different thing. And so we're devoting our resources, our time to those firms that are scaling. So if you find yourself, hitting the $750,000 revenue mark, you got 5 team members, or you're up to 2, 3, 4, and 5 million, you're who we serve. You're who we've always served, but now we're only going to focus in and serve you instead of just broadly inviting anybody into our community. That's a big change. What this means is there were a lot of people in our community that just didn't need to or could not upgrade to these two higher programs, Venture and Ascent. And we knew that. We understand that. We've made changes in Thriveal before. But what we've got to do, and everybody has to do this when they're leading a company, is you've got to have a purpose. You've got to have a mission. And when that mission leads you to make changes in your company, you have to do it. You can't just falter and waffle and ride around on the waves, hoping this economy, market, geopolitical, inflationary economy we're in take you where it wants to take you. You have to decide. And what that means is you have to decide a lot of hard things. This was really hard. It's why it took us a year and a half, 2 years to really figure out this journey. It's like, is this our new season? Do we want to make this change into this new season? And over time, as we went through the thoughts, and Julie and I had tons of conversation, we knew it was right. And so now we're inviting you to join us. I'm going to kind of show you a screen here in a minute, what it really looks like. But I want to invite you and just let you know, as we go into the new year, we're looking for 5 firms to join us in Venture, and we're looking for 5 firms to join us in Ascent. Now we know the number, right? It's 5. That's the number we can commit our capacity to. It's not, hey, profession, come and join us and be in our community. No, we couldn't meet the needs of everybody and be involved in everybody's life in the way we wanted to. So now we're inviting very specific people. 5 members to join Venture in January and 5 members to join Ascent in January. And again, Venture is for anybody that's building a firm with 5 team members or more and growing. And then Ascent is for anybody with $1 million in revenue and growing. And that's the capacity we have to commit. We just need 5 in Venture and 5 in Ascent. And we're excited to take you through coaching in Ascent. That comes with private coaching, dashboarding, and goal setting. So it's a perfect time to join our community in Ascent. Also, if you feel alone and your team is growing in Venture, we're going to be the place that can bring a lot of clarity to some of the complexity of growth with team. So that's more about how Thriveal has changed. Let me show you real quick what this looks like in practice. Okay, here's a screen of change in Thriveal during this time of seasonal change that we wanted to prepare. There's a lot of different things we've done in Thriveal. You can kind of see them listed down the left-hand side. Some community levels, a lot of different community-related activities like our Future Firm Summit and annual virtual summit, mentor hours, master classes, venture speed coaching. All these things are things we've always offered. And you can see at the top, across the top, you can see it's just a little bit of a transition timeline. January all the way through August, I've listed across the top just to kind of talk about the timeline of, when we expect some of these changes to take place. So our community level membership, you can see in the first 3 lines up here, community level membership no longer offered. So there's a lot of these things that are going away in our new season, but we're going to keep master classes. These are going to be tweaked just a little bit. Master classes are things we taught privately for people in our community. Now master classes are going to be more public. We're still going to teach those. We may teach them with other speakers. These may be sponsored, but we're going to be teaching. That's a main seasonal change we wanted to make sure we committed to, which is teaching. That's something we've done a lot for the past 15 years. 15 years ago, I started a coaching course, really one of the first coaching courses for firm owners. And it was life-changing. It taught me a lot. And so we've always taught and written since then. And you can see some other things are changing. Venture Speed Coaching and Venture Summit are really being combined into the Venture program. The Venture Speed Coaching used to be quarterly. Now it's going to be a monthly committed program level. This is where you commit to a 12-month, always rolling venture level membership. And that's where we now commit ourselves to you. So Julie and I are going to be leading those venture programs. We're going to be leading the Ascent programs. And I want to hop down. I want to skip the Venture Summit real quick, and I'll hop down to Deeper Weekend. Deeper Weekend is a conference we've run. And again, this was a part of us running a conference for a whole community, right? It just basically invited the whole accounting professional, as long as you were an owner of a firm, from around the world. People came from around the world to come to our Deeper Weekend conference, which is typically the last week of October, the third or fourth week of October, really. And so this past year, 2025, was our last Deeper Weekend conference. That was a really big, hard decision for us. We love the Deeper Weekend conference. We love to see people. And we're just like anything, just like any kind of seasonal change where you have to make a change. We got to a point where we're like, okay, do we need to be an events company? Do we need to really scale up growing a conference? Because that's what you have to do. A conference is like a 10-month commitment. And some of our team flipped into event management roles. And we really wanted to focus on our core offering, right? Which is a community, a very tight community of chosen people who want to be in the lives of each other on a more regular basis, a monthly basis, where Julie and I are leaning into teaching and guiding people through coaching and through growth. We wanted to be able to commit more of our efforts to the people that are choosing to come into one of our two programs, Venture or Ascent. And the conference, Deeper Weekend, just turned out to be something we needed to sunset. We were very sad. A lot of our community were sad. But again, when you make seasonal changes in your firm, or like we did in Thriveal, it doesn't mean you always want to make them, but you do have to, right? That's what we do as entrepreneurs. We maintain a lot of courage to make these changes when they're necessary. And the way you want to think about change, especially seasonally, when you give up something special like Deeper Weekend, again, we sunset that conference at the time that it was working, right? It's working. So you don't always stop something just because it's broken. Sometimes you stop something because you need to devote your efforts to things that are bigger and deeper than what you're already committed to. And the Deeper Weekend, so sunsetting that conference now allows us to commit more of our teaching, the development of programs to the chosen people that join Venture or Ascent. And again, we're looking for 5 firm owners to join Venture in January. We're looking for 5 to join Ascent in January. That's all we can take. Now we know that. That's the only number we can take. But with this change, our community, again, we still have a community of Venture and Ascent members. They still want to be together. So we had something called the Venture Summit. This was a private live event in Greenville, South Carolina every year. And it's now been labeled the Summit. So everybody in Thriveal can come. So this is a live event where we teach for 2.5 days. It's very deep teaching. It's not like Deeper Weekend in that it's only with people who are in Thriveal programs. So this is not for the profession. But we wanted to let you know, if you join a program, this is something you can come to. And that's way more intimate when you're in a room with people you already know and that you're building and growing a firm right beside in the program. So virtually you meet monthly as program members, and then you show up at the summit in Greenville, South Carolina. This year will be May 13th through 15th. And it's more intimate, it's more meaningful when you're building alongside other people you know about, you care about, you've watched them grow, and you do hear about their struggles too. So that room is pretty transformed. It's a much smaller room than Deeper Weekend, and it's not going to have big, sponsor halls and things like that. But we did still want to have an event where we can congregate together as a community. So that's a big deal. You see Ascent program. This was a new program that we started in 2025. That's continuing on. And then we're going to be doing Thriveal courses too. These are going to be a big part of what we're going to do as we anticipate closing this podcast, the Thrivecast. We're considering not running this after the summer of 2026, which will make this podcast 15 years old, which is really crazy. And again, we're just choosing what do we not move into the future with so that we can choose to go deeper in the places that we know we are meant to commit things to. So if we don't commit to the efforts of a podcast, then we can commit our efforts to courses. These are very specifically recorded courses with homework. A lot of these will be self-study instead of being live taught. And we're going to be launching these in July 1. We already have a very deep course called the Accounting Firm Growth Course. It's a 19-module course, takes about 3 months to go through. Tons of homework, a lot of theory in that on running firms. And we want to do more of that teaching. So that's a lot of the changes. And then, of course, we have a live scaling workshop, which is really going to be part of what Ian Vason and I, as the authors of Scale with Purpose, we're going to be launching that probably towards September 2026. And that's really for the people reading the book, Scale with Purpose, and ready to put more of that book into action. We're going to run a live scaling workshop, likely in Dallas, Texas, so you can dive more deeply into that. Cool. So after all of those notifications and changes, one thing I want to ask you as you lead a firm, as you lead an organization, is to make sure that whenever change is brought to you or whenever you're thinking, are the seasons of change blowing? Do I need to change things? What we're not meant to do as service-based entrepreneurs is just always do the same thing. At different sizes, firms need to be different structures. And you'll see that in our book, Scale with Purpose, when you read about it. So we don't just build a firm with one structure and it remains the same as we grow and grow and grow. We have to change it and tweak it. So anytime you have a change that's brought to you in your firm, like a team member quits or you hire somebody new, you're always meant to be creative and go, is this a time to create a new role? Is this a time to not replace that person? Maybe we should pivot and not serve the same clients. Maybe there's a new market we should go after. Is this the time to implement different or better marketing? What kind of changes in communication do we need to have with our client base, with our team? That's the job of the CEO, right? The founder, the leader of the firm. It's to always be thinking, what should I do now? Should I do the same thing I've been doing, or should I tweak it and change it? Often you have to be creative and you have to change what you've been doing so that you can keep growing in a way that you want to grow. And that kind of creative change sometimes is hard because a lot of times you don't know what to do when change is brought to you. So it takes a lot of strategic planning and thought and things like that. That's why it took us a couple of years really to figure out what season of change do we need to go through in our firm? What season of change should we go through in Thriveal? By asking ourselves the question, where do we want to commit? What do we want to do as we lead these companies, right? It's been 25 years in the firm and 15 years in Thriveal, and it's time for a change. And a lot of that can be driven by us as the founders. What should we commit ourselves to? Sometimes the market tells us to change things. And again, sometimes you're just brought unfortunate events with team changes and clients leaving and coming and going. So just ask yourself, what are you supposed to be doing in 2026? What is the change you need to enact? And of course, you need courage to do it. Courage doesn't mean you're not fearful. It just means you're pretty sure there's a path and there's a place you need to go down, and you may be fearful. But courage is when you overcome that fear and you go down that path because you know the path is right, even though you feel anxious about it. That's courage. And sometimes you need to check that up with the community. That's why we're saying there are 5 firms we can let into our venture program. And there are 5 firms we can let into the Ascent program in January. Maybe you're one of those firms. Maybe you're at a place where you're stuck or you're bumping into walls. Well, now you can come into a community that's smaller, more intimate, where Julie and I, my partner, are fully more deeply focused on specific entrepreneurs that join us. Not necessarily everybody that can come into Thriveal, but specifically those who join to be with us and grow with us in a monthly way in Venture and Ascent. So As we go into 2026, I want to invite you to make creative changes, be courageous about the changes you need to make. We're making some changes, and if these changes are invitations to you to join us, then we would welcome you to come talk to Lauren Day, the general manager of Thriveal, and she can walk you through the benefits of these two programs. So here's to a happy 2026. 2025 was a little bit bumpy. We hope 2026 is a better year for everybody. So put on your courage and join us if you think Thriveal can be the place where you can grow under the care and counsel of very seasoned firm owners, book authors, instructional program creators, course teachers, those kind of things. That's what you get in Thriveal. So we welcome you if you're right for Thriveal, and we'll see you on the other side when the new year dawns. Take care.